Many people already realize that those who have seized the Romanian state after the coup from December 1989 not have done nothing else in the past 27 years than selling the country and the interests of the Romanian people to multinationals, banks, and foreign powers. We do not know how many people realize that the sale and destruction of Romania is done, not through corruption and criminality, how it manipulates the media, but simply by adopting internal legislation, or the implementation of some normative acts, coming from Brussels, who have this exact purpose. Firstly, the current legislation clearly favors foreign companies to the detriment of Romanian companies and Romanian citizens. Multinationals are not only exempt from tax and taxes, but they receive free land and infrastructure, they have immunity from the law, but also receive state aid, which, if granted to the Romanians, would be considered illegal. These aids consist either of money or state guarantees for financing credits, or indirectly, by exempting from a series of taxes. Thus, they are transferred to the population and small domestic entrepreneurs. One last such example that comes to our mind is the exemption of large foreign firms from the fee for green certificates from the electricity bill. Moreover, the Romanian state not only favors the so-called foreign investors at the expense of the Romanians and the Romanian capital, but also adopts laws and applies European norms, which simply take away the small entrepreneurs and the Romanian companies from the economic circuit. For example, there are certain rules in Brussels on the number of microorganisms in milk, and Romanian producers are forced to buy cooling tanks, which are of course imported and very expensive. The Romanian peasants, not having enough money, will be immediately removed from the market, and their place will be taken by foreign multinationals, which, having much higher financial power, will be able to meet the European Union standards. I mean, they enforce rules that no one can respect, except their accomplices, and then attack freely on the bayonet. From January 1st, 2017, in Romania, only conform milk can be marketed. So, hundreds of thousands of peasants, who earn some money from selling milk to the market, remain without the main source of income, and the state is losing, because they will not even pay the fee for renting the stalls. The total number of germs and the number of somatic cells present in milk should not exceed the quota imposed by Brussels, which seems to know since the world how milk is consumed, while Romanians know, since only yesterday, so as to milk be conformable. To stop the multiplication of milk germs, it must be brought to a temperature of not more than 4 degrees Celsius within 2 hours of milking. Under these conditions, peasants have to make investments in equipment, such as cooling tanks. Similarly, the thousands of type of machine tools, machinery, and industrial aggregates that Romania experienced, manufactured, and successfully exported were also catalogued and appropriate. This is also the case when what remains of the Romanian industry manages to produce something that threatens the competition of the patrons in the West. It does not take long, and there are coming new rules and laws that remove those creations because they do not meet EU requirements. Then, in a short time, the Romanian market is invaded by products with the same role, but most of the time, poor quality, but which correspond, however, being manufactured by them. By the economic accomplices of EU lawmakers, who systematically kill Romania and everything she still means. We are still alive in memory, the period of glory, of all sorts of miseries, produced by the Occident, special for Romania, during which, the benefactors from Brussels, they pulled out of the drawer, aviar flu, mad cow disease, swine fever, SARS, and other terrible illnesses, which, just for the invention of terrible names, some luminous heads, in their offices, must have struggled, for some time. Someone there, somewhere, ensures that Romania only takes care to consume and not to produce. If it happens that sometimes the rebel appears on some level, economic, political, social, etc., it will quickly apply the model of procedures coming from the master to the colonist. By the end of 2016, for several years, had been released in Romania, a fashion with great publicity. To the uncomfortable people, who appeared publicly, and said what they knew about the diabolical metamorphosis between foreign interests, hot characters from interior, and the destruction process of Romania, were quickly labeled as corrupt, being arrested and investigated according to the Stalinist model of that era of sad memories. Everything was done live on television, absolutely on television, for the report of the executors to their outside masters, to be legitimate, and to give everyone the message as clear as possible, to keep their mouths, and to be as submissive as possible. The show was grotesque and unrealistic. The ratio of allotted forces was massively disproportionate, for a maximum visual impact, and for a great psychological pressure on those who had to convict the defendants, mandatory in favor of the system, and for the delight of the public, to whom so he was offered circus and blood in full. And so, under the cover of the entity created and imposed by them, of which no citizen has been consulted, an entity called the law, the system, thought out and implemented in Romania with the help of weak and without dignity compatriots, commit the worst acts of banditism, and he detriment of all and everything. Fortunately, there are, and they are multiplied, the voices of those who, denouncing the governance methods, by dictated model, of those at the center of the EU, who have a dangerous safety, when they believe that their union will survive in this way. Unfortunately, these voices are not Romanians. Romanians, more precisely, some of them, are still enjoys by the garbage served nastily by the multinational companies from the civilized world as toys, who missed them so much when they were small, in ruthless communism. But we are entrusted, in accordance with tradition of this nation, that the time will come when the Romanian will appreciate more the sovereignty of his country than the second-hand gilded cars will appreciate the traditions of the forerunners more than a cruel hunger in the shadow of the Eiffel Tower, and will be more delighted by the landscapes of his country rather than the all-inclusive vacations for gorging with food who it was once eaten.